Jacked Super Andrew, this is 1100 to 1500 Andrew. It looks very different than this Andrew over here, which when I got my blood work done here on this day, I was at 420 or 430 nanograms per deciliter. I'll put the freaking number up from the email right here. Yo, I made this list for you guys. 10 to 1, most negative thing that I experienced about having been on TRT, all the way to the most positive thing that I experienced. Everything in between. I think I need to lay the groundwork for you guys about what this was like. And I got to do so with something that 98 or 99% of you guys wouldn't understand, so I'm going to use something that I think a lot of you guys will understand. Every day, you wake up, you got a cup of coffee, right? Maybe it's not a cup of coffee, but maybe you drink these things like I do. You like the caffeine in those things. It makes you feel a certain sort of way. Yeah, baby! And I think that a lot of you guys have probably also experienced that day where you wake up and you're rushed and you're trying to get out of the house as fast as possible because you gotta get on a train or get in the car or get to work on time, or maybe the kids are late to school. Who knows what that thing might be? But everyone's had that day where 11 o'clock rolls around, 12 o'clock rolls around, and you're thinking, what's wrong with me? Something's going on. Everything just seems kind of gray. Maybe you're forgetful and you're losing stuff. But then 1 o'clock rolls around, you've been thinking about what is wrong with me all day, and then it hits you. It's like, I forgot to drink my cup of coffee in the morning. Every day I have this cup of coffee and I forgot it. And that's kind of where I can come from now with this list that I've made for you guys. Because I was on testosterone for 11 months. I started way back in September. I stopped just out of nowhere in August for a couple of reasons, but I stopped and I did so for 90 days. And I think this list is very unique because I don't think many people can speak to it the same way where when you don't drink a cup of coffee, you just realize what it's like to have had a cup of coffee for as long as you had them. I told you there were a couple of reasons that I just stopped the way that I did. Probably the biggest one is that I didn't remember to bring my testosterone with me to Mayo Clinic where Alexis was having her hip surgery. Those two things coincide because Alexis is having a hip surgery, catastrophic hip surgery, and I am on TRT, which is a libido booster. Put those two things together for a second and you can figure the freaking math out on that one. But the other thing is I didn't have it with me, and I knew I wouldn't have it for about 3 weeks because I was only expecting to spend 2 or 3 days there. We spent 2 or 3 weeks up in freaking Minnesota. So I tried to roll with the punches with this phenomenon that was the Liver King, which is that he did 220 days completely natural. And I wanted to watch it very closely because once you lied to us once, I think you're gonna lie to us twice. And he said that he did this entire thing and you see his physique start to get better and better and better. That's not what's supposed to happen when you stop taking these drugs. And I want to let everybody know that. And I know that my following is nowhere near as big as his is. This is what I looked like at my best, and this is what I looked like at about 2 months later. That's what's supposed to happen. I also, unlike the Liver King, got my blood work done to match these things. I know that at the tippy top, I was way too high. I was at like 1500 nanograms per deciliter, so I had to bring that down right back to where I wanted, which was like at 1100 nanograms per deciliter. I got all of this stuff done through California Hormones, cahormones.com. You can still do that for free with Hiller at checkout if you want. Jacked Super Andrew, this is 1100 to 1500 Andrew. It looks very different than this Andrew over here, which when I got my blood work done here on this day, I was at 420 or 430 nanograms per deciliter. I'll put the freaking number up from the email right here. This is what's supposed to happen. And the crazy thing about this dude right here is, number one, my testosterone is lower than it was when I started, which was 733. That's expected. You're supposed to go below because you basically shut your nuts off. The crazy thing is I got my blood work done again 12 days later and I went up from 430 something all the way up to 640 something. I went up by 200. That was nuts to me. I'm like, yes, good, cool, good, nice job, nuts. You pat your nuts on the head and you go, okay, I'm gonna go right back to work, and I gave myself a shot the next day. And that was about a week ago. And I'm already starting to feel different. It's like I had a cup of coffee again. You'll hear more about that as we get through this list a little bit, but I want to start with the most negative thing. That was the acne. It's not on my face, it's not on my chest. Every once in a while I would get one on my arms. And it wasn't so much the way that it looked, it was the way that it felt. There was something about the fact where when you lean back against something and you just have this giant, oh my God, what's sitting back there? It's just this pimple and it just hurts like crap. And there weren't a crazy number of them. It would just be one monster every once in a while. And I never had it my entire life and I did not like it. I was not a fan of it. And everyone's going, check your estrogen. And it goes, yes, I checked my estrogen. It was right where it was supposed to be. That was fine. Andrew, change your sheets. Yeah, Alexis changes the sheets every 3 days. Andrew, use this stupid soap. It's just the fact that I'm on TRT. Some people have negative side effects. I get acne, some people don't. If you don't, good for you, but I did. Be aware that that might happen if you start going on TRT. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Nothing! One of the things that I tried to do, which is is actually why I think that my testosterone jacked up the way that it is. I changed my injection frequency, and this will be a trend against the negatives, which is if I see something bad, I want to do something to fix it. So everyone knows that I was going Sunday and Thursday, and I tried to give myself a lesser dose. I wanted to give it to me every single day because when your hormones fluctuate the way they do, that's what causes acne as well as the estrogen, as well as the dirty bed sheets. And actually, when I did increase it like that, I did see a decrease in the frequency in which I would have that monster pimple, but they still came. So that's just one of the things that you got to consider. They're going to be there. The second most negative thing, which is going to be 9 on the list, was the thinning of hair, which I'm wearing this hat. And everyone's going, Andrew's trying to hide his bald head. Like, no, I'm not trying to hide my bald head. It's the cool hat where it tells everybody that I'm natural. And also, I buzzed this thing because Alexis is an esthetician, and she's got this microneedling device. Look into it a little bit. When you stab a bunch of little holes in your head, you're going to increase the blood flow up there. You are going to now promote growth in the hair. So I'm trying that stuff out. It's easier when your hair is buzzed, and I've done it before in my life. I don't care about having a buzzed head. This is like the 4th time or so that I've done it. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm using a peptide from HIpeptides.com. Alexis, when she had her surgery, got a handful of peptides. One of them was GHKCU. Her hair started to grow like crazy, and her nails started to grow like crazy. So like I told you, with these negatives, I wanted to try to do things to fix the negatives. So Alexis is microneedling my head, and I'm taking a GHKCU peptide. You can get that at HIpeptides.com. You can use code Hiller on that too. You'll get it shipped to you for free. So you'll be able to chia pet me as you watch these videos and see my hair grow out and see if it gets any better than it was. But yeah, it's also a negative. You don't want your hair thin. And at this point in time, you might hear these 2 things and not even want to continue with the rest of the video because you're like, those negatives are negative enough for me. I want nothing to do with this stuff. But I'll tell you the third most negative thing, and you're not going to believe it. It's that I thought that I was too big. Huh? I wasn't the only one who thought I was too big. Alexis goes, you're too big for your own body at this point. I'm like, all right, I hear you, I get it. But it was only once clothes didn't start to fit and once gymnastics started to get harder. And people would think that you're out of your freaking mind. Everyone wants a bunch of muscle on you, but you really don't want a lot of muscle on you. You don't want to be 210 pounds all the time when you spent your entire life trying to make your way up to 190, doing everything you can. I actually had it written on a board once. I want to be 200 pounds. I couldn't for the life of me hit 200 pounds, and then you just start doing TRT and you're at 210 like magic. That might be a positive for you, but for me, it was a negative. You're walking around all the time, you kind of feel like a lumberjack. I like being a little bit more nimble. And then you also think about the phenomenon that is you're supposed to be a certain size, and now you're perpetually walking around at a size that is bigger than you're supposed to be. The same thing that I think about people who are overweight. Your heart is one size. Your body is supposed to be one size. You have all of this extra fat on you, and now your heart is now needing to pump for this huge body. And I didn't like the idea of being that big for this long and what it's going to mean for me in the long run. So I did the meat and fruit thing. For my acne, I changed the injection frequency. For the hair loss, I took the peptide and started the microneedling with Alexis. And when I was too big, I started to diet. I did the meat and fruit thing, and I lost a bunch of weight. I went from 210 to 198. I went from being a little bit poofy because I wasn't watching everything as close as I should to being freaking shredded. That's the end of the negative stuff. And of course, those are my opinions on negative things. Maybe you want to be big, and that's a good thing for you, but it wasn't for me. The first thing that's a wash, number 7 on my list, is that you're no longer working for progression, and the progression's all messed up. And here's the thing about being natural is you're going to bench press this weight, and then you're going to bench press this weight, or maybe you want to do some squats, and you just kind of always know what you're tracking. But when you start taking performance enhancing drugs, everything's all messed up. When you stop taking performance enhancing drugs like I did, everything's definitely all messed up, and you're definitely not working for progression, but you're trying to put off regression. And I think that goals are a huge thing that everybody needs when it comes to fitness. You want to run this mile, you want to squat this weight, you want to do this workout in this amount of time. When you introduce performance enhancing drugs, it gives you kind of this false sense of I accomplished that. And then when you come off of performance enhancing drugs, you see that go away. That thing that you didn't even really earn in the first place. So it kind of messes everything up. The reason that this is in my I don't care pile is because all I do at this point is YouTube videos. That's what's important to me. I am an internet creature. It's Alexis and internet creature. Those are the only 2 important things in my life at this point. If I were an athlete and my performance metrics were that important, this thing would definitely be a negative. I would not like this. But it's worth noting. Just like the increase in body and facial hair. I hit puberty late. I couldn't grow this for the life of me. I started growing this when I was, 24, 25 years old. And of course, this is my thing now. I just have it. I love having my little beard thing. But when I started taking testosterone, I started to grow chest hair. I started to grow my cheeks in a little bit. And I thought, where is this coming from? My dad doesn't even have hair on his face. Fortunately, I didn't get any hair on my back. And I think that I would care if I had hair on my back. But I don't care about having hair on my chest. I didn't care about having a more prominent happy trail. It's just something that I noticed. And I've already brought up the next thing that I want to talk about, which is the sex drive. That is definitely boost. It's in the middle here. It's more towards the positive side because it is something that's cool. You don't want to have a low sex drive, so of course it's going to be better to have a higher sex drive. But it's also the reason that I just stopped taking it, because when your significant other is basically unable to have sex with you, it's probably not in anyone's best interest to want to be having it all the time. Now, that being said, it's in the middle for me, but it could be a negative for a handful of people, just the same way it could be a positive for a handful of people. This goes for women too. If you are a female out there and you've got a low sex drive, maybe it's because you've been on birth control for a long time and your testosterone's in the toilet. If you go and you supplement with testosterone, which I know a lot of females have, you are going to have increased libido, 100%. Same way that a dude is going to have an increased libido. Now here's the thing, if your partner does not have a high sex drive, they have a low libido, and then you go on testosterone, there's going to be this huge change in dynamic where this person doesn't really want to have sex this much and this person wants to have sex a lot, and it could probably cause some issues. So it's in the middle for me, but it might be positive or negative for you. The fourth thing that I didn't really care about, which would have been different if you would have rewound 4 years, was the ease in which I had gained strength. I was at the Zelos games and I hit a 355-pound clean double, one of which was basically a power clean. I split cleaned my power cleans because I'm an idiot, but it was a split clean with about a 10-second break into a squat clean. And my lifetime best squat clean as a natural human was 345 pounds. That was off of the back of some course, huge 12-week cleaning cycle that I tried to see whatever I could do to up that number. But my lifetime best clean and jerk was 340 pounds as a natural athlete. My lifetime best clean as a natural athlete was 340 pounds. And then when I get onto all the stuff, I just out of nowhere, for no reason, hit this super crazy lift. I spend 10 hours a day sitting in this chair and I just, I'm gonna go work up to a heavy clean double, and I PR my lifetime best clean for no reason. It doesn't mean much to me anymore. It's cool to mention, which is why it's damn near close to the positive stuff, but also I know that I really didn't do anything to deserve that. It just happened. Some people will love it. Some people want to post that crap everywhere, but for me, I only like to post the stuff that I'm proud of. I didn't earn that lift, so it's in the middle. It doesn't mean anything to me. But now we can get into the positive stuff, and I keep on bringing up the fact that I sit here all the time. I sit here 10 hours a day. I sleep 4 hours a night sometimes. Now with all of this stuff, you'd go, that's not healthy, Andrew, that's bad for you. But I did tell you that my two main goals in life are Alexis and YouTube. I want to be the best for those two things. Now, I also make fitness videos. So one of the coolest things about being on testosterone, my third point here on the way all the way up to 1, is that I was able to maintain 90% of my fitness with 25% of the work. Everybody will have a feeling about that, but it is the honest truth. Because when I was doing the stuff such as trying to get as heavy of a clean as possible, I was trying to do everything I could to get stronger, to get more fit. I would work out upwards of 15 times a week, which is more than twice a day on average. And I did have quite a bit of fitness in there. What I realized, and I really had this compounded when I stopped taking testosterone, was that I was able to maintain all of that fitness for the most point with doing 1/4 of the work. I would work out 5 or 6 days a week. I would work out for an hour and a half a day at most. And that was way less work and way less intent than I put in back then. But if I ever wanted to go do something like the Fran would be in 2:05. If I wanted to go do Murph, and my best Murph time ever was somewhere in the 30s, I'd be able to finish right around 40 minutes. I can go on a whim and go do Grace at 2:25, and I can PR my 2:25 Grace time because I remember trying to do that freaking thing, 30 reps, and I remember it would take me 6 or 7 minutes to do it as a natural athlete, and then when I was an enhanced athlete, I just stood up, went and did it, and I did it under 6, and I couldn't freaking believe it. I was kind of out of my body with how bad it hurt. Did that live on the Sevon show at the Rogue Invitational last year, but there was no reason that I should have PR'd that freaking thing, but with where I'm at in life, that was awesome, and I attribute that to the TRT, and that's where the end of the exercise metrics come. A lot of people start the performance enhancing drugs and they think that it's important because they're going to get big muscles, they're going to post all this stuff to the internet, la-di-da, it's so cool, but that's not what I'm doing, because I keep on telling you my two most important things, Alexis and YouTube. So number 2 on my list of 10 to 1 is the bump that you get in yourself. This could be a potential negative, by the way. Just like your libido going up could be a really bad thing in some situations. Depending on where you're at and who you're having sex with, it could be a bad thing to have a bump in who you are, because I know these people who have used testosterone. I know these people who have used harder steroids than that, and then they become a bigger dickhead, because if you're a dickhead, you're going to be a bigger dickhead. If you're an idiot, you're going to be a bigger idiot. The biggest idiots that I know are the ones that have been using performance-enhancing drugs because they've enhanced their idiocism. Idiot! That being said, you have people out there who use testosterone and they're even smarter. They're even cooler. For me, I noticed that I could get even more aggressive if I wanted to. I could get even calmer if I wanted to. Those are the two biggest things, because I have this switch. I go, okay, it's going to be in my best interest to be calm here. That person's angry. It's going to look really good if I just chill out. Oh, I'm making a YouTube video. I gotta switch on the anger. I gotta get angry right now. Switch the angry button on, Andrew. Let's get angry. You're playing a softball game and you want to mess with the other team and just act like you're angry at everybody. This is gonna be great. And it just bumped those two things. I get calmer. I get more aggressive. Now, there's also the people out there who can't control the aggressive switch, and it's just more and more and more aggressive. And then you hear about the roid rage. Rage. But you gotta ask yourself, who are you? And it's usually the same people who have the negative side effects that won't realize the fact that they're having them. It's usually somebody who can look at somebody and you know, oh, I know what that person is. That person is a sea lion. And sea lions do this. This person is a sloth. And sloths do this. You're gonna be even sleepier when you're on your steroids. I don't know. But for me, it was cool. For you, it could be bad. Now, this next one, this is bar none the most important thing, and this is the reason that I am legitimately back on TRT right now. I guess I shouldn't say it's the only reason because I really liked reason number 2 as well. Reason number 2 and reason number 1, they will completely put away the side that my hair is potentially thin, and the reason that I have like a pimple every 2 weeks on my back that is just like, oh, I don't care about those things because these things are so important to me. And the most important thing is that I never get tired. Ever. I know what it was like to be a natural human being. I was that way my entire life. But I do know that every single day around noon, I would get tired. It could have been grade school. It could have been high school. Definitely in college, I would find myself in the library, head down, just falling asleep right around 1 o'clock every day. And would go sleep more at night. It didn't matter whether I got 6 hours or 8 hours of sleep at night. I was tired right in the middle of the day. I hear in other countries they got a siesta. They just go to sleep in the middle of the day because everyone is just tired. And I go, oh, it makes sense. I'm just a normal dude. You're supposed to be tired in the middle of the day. But I didn't realize that I lost that once I started taking testosterone until I was off of it again. I stopped taking it for 90 days and then I started to get tired right in the middle of the day again. I'm like, what the hell is this all about? And then I thought, this is something I had my entire life, but it's not something that I had for 11 months. That sleepy middle of the day feeling, gone. Wow. But it doesn't stop there because you may have seen that I went and I saw Tyson Bagent play over in LA against the Chargers. That was a last minute decision. That was a flight that I left at, I don't know, 9 o'clock here in Chicago. I got there, I drove around, got the rental car, got to the stadium, and then I went back. I got on a red eye at midnight. I got back at like 6 a.m. Chicago time. That messed me up for about 5 or 6 days. Now, there was a point in time where I drove my freaking self down to Florida, spent some time in Florida, then I went over to this competition. I flew over there, and then I went to California. I flew over there. I was going everywhere all the time, all the flights, all the travel, and I was not tired. At that time, I was on TRT. With where I am in this life right now, where the most important things are Alexis and YouTube, the net positive that I get from never experiencing that lull that I got from having spent time in LA for 1 day, I can't freaking put a number on that. How many videos have I made in the middle of the night because I just don't feel the effects of being tired the next day? There were times recently within the past couple of months where I go, okay, it's time to make a video. It's midnight. I gotta do it. I gotta get it out by the next day. It's time. And then I would pay the price. And if all I gotta do is hit myself with a needle twice a week, which is given to me again by California Hormones, CAHormones.com, you could still use code Hiller at checkout. That's gonna give you free blood work to figure out if you're a normal human, like I was, 733 or so, which is where I was when I started, or if you're a suboptimal human, all the way down to the toilet with your testosterone. They'll tell you that in the freaking follow-up appointment. You're dumb if you don't do that, but everybody's different. And I know my positives and my negatives, and I'm very well aware that when I stopped going off of testosterone, my acne went away. 90 days, pimples on my back, they were gone. I got smaller. It removed those thoughts of being too big. I was as heavy as 210 pounds, and then when I got off, I went all the way down to 186, and I did that in 3 months. Now I'm totally ready for the comments about, oh, here's this cheater again. And they're actually my favorite ones that I read on the internet. Usually they're in Reddit, sometimes they're in other comment sections. And I think that Blueprint Fitness guy recently said, oh, the steroid monkey is back. I'm just thinking, cool, that's me, the steroid monkey. You can go on and on and on about all the hard work that you put in here and there and wherever, but at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to be able to triple your outlet because I'm going to be able to do so in the middle of the night because I'm not going to be tired. I also know that if I want to go do a workout for the hell of it, I'm going to be able to put out 90% of my best lifetime fitness effort because I'm on TRT. I know that if I'm in a situation with a person, I'm going to be able to be calmer or more aggressive. There are these switches that I can hit, and when you ask yourself, what are the most important things in your life, and you can say, hey, I know that the most important thing in my life is Alexis, and the 3 negatives are things that I can control. I can go on a diet, I can do some microneedling and some peptides, and I can also change the frequency in which I inject. The 3 positives that are very important to me are things that are just time driven, that I can't put the amount of time in that I need to maintain 90% of my fitness. I already told you that it's impossible for me to never be tired again. I can't accomplish that. I've been that way my entire life. The only time that it was ever gone were the 11 months that I started taking testosterone. I can't put a metric onto how important those things are to me. And you guys will have those too. Or maybe you won't. Because like I said in the beginning, 98% of you guys will never touch this stuff. But that's what I'm here for. But next time you miss your cup of coffee, just remember that that's probably very close to what it's like when you stop taking a performance enhancing drug for an extended period of time. And that's all I got to say about that. Andrew Hiller, out.
Please smash that like button, no one touches there now.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Some people dream of success, while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can!